We are live.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the City Council meeting as of November the 2nd at 7 p.m. Mrs. Berner, if you will do a roll call for us.
Sure will. Mayor Lowry is absent. Councilman Grimm.
I'm here.
Councilman Nowakowski.
Here.
Councilman Rodewald.
Here.
Councilman Cobb.
Here.
Councilman Eggleston.
Here.
And Vice Mayor Cook.
Here.
6 members present.
All right, the invocation will be by Councilman Cobb.
Dear Heavenly Father, help us make the right decision for the citizens and in the community. Try to help us get along with each other. Also, watch over our first responders, our fire and EMS, our fire chief, and our deputies, and watch over our military and keep them safe, our men and women, and help us get through this virus. I'm so sick of it. In Jesus' name, pray, amen.
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 Okay, and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Grimm.
It's taking some doing here.
Allegiance
Allegiance
To the flag
flag
to the States
of the United
United
States
States of
and
America.
to the republic
Republic
which it
For
stands,
which stands
one
one
nation
nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty.
with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
All right, Pledge of Allegiance. We need an action on the minutes of 10:19 work session.
So do it.
So moved.
Second.
That I didn't hear I heard like 4 voices for the first one.
Just pick a
I
name.
think Mr. Cobb was first, and I did hear Mrs. Eggleston.
Okay. All right, good to call the roll.
Yep.
All right. Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Rodewald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Those minutes are accepted 6-0.
All right, and we need action on the regular session of 10:19.
So moved.
Second.
How about
Ah.
Eggleston and Grimm?
Okay. Those were the loudest ones, I think, there. Councilman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Rodewald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
Skip him, Emily.
Okay. Okay. Oh, he's coughing. Councilman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
So you're trying to say we're big mouths, huh? Yes.
Well. All right, that motion passes. Those minutes are accepted. 5-0.
Mr. Cobb, I assume you voted yes on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, communications, Mr. Bridge.
None this evening, sir.
All right, none, sir. All right, do you want to go into the city manager's report?
I would love to. Let me get to it. Thank you, Vice Mayor Cook, members of council, members of administration, and members of public. So here's the city manager report. We do have a departmental report. Usually those are done on the second one of the month, but we had an employee out last week, our last meeting. So Derek is here to give his report tonight.
Hello, everyone. This is coming a little late. So this is all these stats and numbers are for the month of September. So I'll get October's in our next regular session. So for the month of September, we had at that point we had 100 approved zoning permits. Code enforcement, we had 68 code violations that were issued for the month of month of September. We also assessed $8,125 to the county auditor. Those are special. So those are due to cleanups and mowings for tall grass. So that was for the second half of 2019 and the first half of 2020. So a lot of our moves from this summer was after that. So obviously we'll have more to assess for next season. In our community development, our tool lending, word is getting out. People are calling and people are borrowing tools. So it is working the way it's designed to. So far, no problems. We had 12 tools lent out in September, and we have already had in October had several more. So getting lots of calls and lots of requests for tools. We also actually just added, and we got a paint sprayer, an airless paint sprayer that doesn't require an air compressor. So that was a nice purchase. It was actually purchased with credits that we had, rebate credits from the original purchases of stocking the tooling center. So it didn't cost us anything extra. And I think it will go a long way this winter. Got any indoor projects need some paint done. This will be a neat tool to be able to borrow. Economic development. We did have a business move in town. We had Wholesale Auto Parts. They relocated from 100 North Main Street to 1833 North Dayton Lakeview. That was the old, I think it was the Positive Paw Rescue, the dog rescue, where they formerly were. So they have moved the parts store down there. And there are some talks of some stuff for the 100 location around North Main, but nothing in stone, nothing confirmed yet. And then, of course, with economic development, we are looking at the 2021 budget. So those items I discussed in our work session, looking at establishing a dog park, and that would either be in an existing portion of a park or find a new location. The city does own lots of land around that's kind of not being utilized that we can't be built on, or some other things that we might be able to utilize as a dog park. So there are some awesome projects coming up that I'm going to be excited to present winter and spring for the 2021 year. And with that, if I have any questions.
I do, or at least a comment. There was some talk about a year ago about using the property that the community garden is leasing from the school district to do that dog park. So put it on your radar.
Yeah, so that was, so that probably took during before I was president. So that was definitely be a great location as well. Ideally we want it to be easy accessible. So that would be a great location.
There's plenty of parking there.
Yep.
So.
Exactly.
Mr. Hudson, have you looked at the park over down from the post office there off the church and Scott?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot. I tell you what, our park system for, a small community as we are, the parks that we offer, our green space that we have a lot of potential for lots of stuff there. So like I had mentioned about doing a Frisbee golf course, they're very inexpensive to start. And they really, those are a destination spot. I mean, there's people that go, Fairborn's had great success with theirs in their city parks. And there's people I know that come from all over to go to that. So, we may not necessarily have the room to do a big technical park, but at least something for our local residents or maybe someone who's here visiting do. So yeah, that park definitely has some potential there.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Back to you, Mr. Bridge.
Well, thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Derek, for the great report. Appreciate your time. So moving on with the city manager report under other items. For this report, we have attached some information regarding the COVID-19 updates from the Clark County Community Health District. So right here it is, Clark County Combined Health District. I do apologize. So it's right here. It's about 5-6 pages long. These do come out about weekly. So when I do the council packet, I just look for the latest one. I may have sent you guys another one today. If not, I'll get it out to you as soon as possible. It does have a few more updated information on it. So that is in the packet for the residents who want to get that offline. We have city operations, alternative work schedules. This I sent out to city council last week. I called the vice mayor before this plan was implemented just to get his opinion on it. But we have the alternative work schedule that I emailed out to council. I wanted to give a copy of this out to the public as well. But we are back on our AB schedule. The citizens will know no different. And someone is in that building 5 days a week still. What we're doing is just separating out the staff and allowing some people to work from home on certain days. So group A, we have got Colleen, Howie, Victoria, and Angela, and they will be in the office every Monday and Tuesday. And the office every Wednesday and Thursday is your group B employees, and that's myself, Derek, Vicky, our tax administrator, and Kathy Marshall, she's our water clerk. And how we're going to handle Fridays is we're actually going to alternate that Friday between group A and group B. So when it came to the department schedules for Howie, Mr. Kiko's departments, his is going to be a little bit different just based off the needs of the plants that he manages. So we have a different schedule for the water department, a different schedule for the wastewater department, and our public works department, which is essentially our street crew. So we're going to be posting this on the Facebook, but I at least wanted to talk with council about it tonight, just in case there's any discussion on it that should change any of this. But we're doing this as a precautionary measure. Clark County is seeing an increased level of COVID-19 cases. We've had 2 cases, one last week and one this week, where it came very close to having to shut down some city operations. So again, this is just a precautionary measure. How we are going to handle this is we will analyze, reevaluate the situation after Thanksgiving, and then we'll present some information to council and see how we're going to move forward. But again, this is just a precautionary measure. Our citizens will know no less, since we do have some people there 5 days. In the lobbyists, the foyer is still operational like it has always been. Does council have any questions on the alternative work schedules or why we're in this currently?
Mr. Cobb.
How's that going to work when we have snow that's got to be plowed? We're going to have enough people on both on the split that can handle that?
Yeah, there'll be some cases that happens and they'll be called into work. And we have that listed under the departments, under Mr. Kiko's, that there may be circumstances you'll be called in to have to help for that stuff, just in case there is our citizens won't know any less. We're not going to not plow the roads. We'll just have
to. I just want to make sure we're going to have it covered.
Absolutely, it will be. Yep.
And Mr. Bridge, you said this schedule is only tentative through the end of November, correct? So
yes,
we'll revisit this the 1st of December. Okay, so let's hope snow's not an issue till at least December.
Well, it ain't gonna be the rest of the week.
But I think council's been on the same page with protecting our employees. We got 2 ladies that have underlying health conditions out of our city operations building. We've beefed up a little bit with adding some barriers in there, but there is a still real possibility. And we're such a small organization that we can't afford to have people have to self-quarantine for days upon days. So we're trying to make the best environment for our employees that we possibly can. Any other questions on the alternative work schedule? No? So I'll move on. So the CARES Act funding is the next bullet point on the city manager report, and how it's been allocated to us. We had one done a few months ago, and that was a combination of the House Bill 481 and also the allocation from the controlling board. And that totaled around $45,000. Well, we recently in the past, I think we got additional dump through the House Bill 614 funds of $200,647.02. That is the emergency legislation that we have on tonight, is for us to increase our appropriations in order to expend that. So some of the things that we're looking to do is buy some equipment for the fire department. He has a power cut and load system that we're going to try to get out of those funds. We're also going to try, we're getting a quote right now to cut our lobby in half at our current city building. Part of the COVID funds is we can actually use those funds for that if we do it in order to separate employees inside. And right now we have 2 code enforcement officers that do work very in close quarters. So we are looking to use those funds for that. Tomorrow I'm having a staff meeting and we're going to discuss some other ways. One of the things I would like to buy are a few backpack fogger sanitizers. That way, if we need to clean the playground equipment, we can have one of our employees go on, put one of those foggers on and fog the playground equipment. If we have a meeting in the shelter house, we can do the same thing. We can use it to clean cars. Fire chief uses a very similar thing in his department. His is a manual pump. Ours is going to be something more, it's battery cordless operated. We're just really trying to beef the city up in order to protect for the spread of coronavirus. So that's what we have in store for the House Bill 614 funds. We do have to have all that encumbered by November 20th. So we don't have much time. I don't know if the state is going to extend that or not, but we're all moving under a fast deal to kind of get these funds earmarked. It's free money. If we don't use it, we lose it and have to send it back. Another thing I would like to get are a few hand sanitizer stations. So I got a few things on there I'm going to research tomorrow, but I would like to get a few of those that are permanent that we can put along the bike trail. It's definitely by the playground equipment, the picnic areas where people go sit that before they can go, they'll have an option to sanitize their hands. We're open to feedback on any of that kind of things. Maybe there's a few items that council wants to look into purchasing.
Mr. Cobb.
Mr. Bridge, can you tell me the cost of them foggers?
Depends on what kind of model you get. And right now, what I saw today when I was researching it, they can run from anywhere to $400 or $500 up to $2,000. So it depends on the model that you get, the output that it has. We're really interested in getting the one that actually charges the droplets as it comes out, because that's going to prevent us from not having to wipe everything down. So we're trying to get the ones that once we fog it, we don't have to go back and wipe it down, because that's going to take more time and more man hours.
Okay,
So the ones that we're looking about getting maybe a little bit on the higher side, just because we want it to charge those particles on the output side.
would it not be feasible to get one for wastewater, one for the water department, one for?
Oh, it'd be department wide, like fire chief would get one for all the departments. We would have one for the
That's
city
what I want to
building.
make sure we got one for
Absolutely.
everybody. We wasn't passing this around, because you said 3,
Yeah,
but I mean, water department, wastewater, the hut, city hall,
yep.
and we're going to get one for the sheriff too, are we not?
Yeah, we'll probably have, we'll talk about fire chief with that, if we just get one for them and have them walk over and do it, just to preserve some funds. And the ones we're looking at, they don't require any special training. If you happen to do it around food, that's all safe, it's environmentally friendly, but it does kill all the germs. It's the kind of the ones that the hospital use that are proven to be effective.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
Any other questions?
Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we didn't get too much. I mean, $200,000 is a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not when you go to allocate this. So we're doing a lot of things that we can benefit the city from and moving forward. And I will just want to make sure everyone saw the posting that we put on Facebook today. There are programs that if you're a citizen of Clark County, i.e. a citizen of New Carlisle, and if you're having a hard time paying your rent or paying your water bill, and because it's due to COVID-19, if you're a small business and you need a loan, we actually put a link on our city's Facebook today that goes into the county's program they're doing. The county got a large amount of money to manage those and to give out to the residents, more than what we got. So there's some information out there on our Facebook page. If you guys have not seen it, please go get it and share it to your personal pages, share it to your council pages. Because again, to reiterate, if someone is having a hard time due to COVID with paying utility bills or their rent or their mortgage, they can apply to get some of this grant money for free.
Any other
Okay.
questions?
Well, he's in a hurry.
All right.
Go ahead.
So we got the Adams Tower discussion. So I know we're still going to be waiting on a lot of information to come back on that. So I am going to request some work session dates, but I think it may be a little premature to try to get anything nailed down now until we have all the studies back. So is this something you guys want to just kind of put on hold and get all the studies, the leg work we need to get done, and then go back and set these work session dates?
I mean, we go ahead and get all the information and then have a work session and see
Do
where
we
we want to go from there.
estimated idea of when these studies will be completed?
I will get with Howie tomorrow and get a good time frame down and then shoot it out to council for an email so we can maybe have a little bit more information to go on for the next meeting on the 16th.
Okay.
Sound good?
Go ahead, Ms. Eagleson.
I've got another scenario to add to this.
Okay.
What would the cost be if we can talk the church into letting us keep it there and not use it
That's the, I
as a
think the
water
300
tower?
that, and use it as a water tower?
No, don't use it as a water tower. We just leave it there as our skyline.
I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, but I thought that Howie said that would be the least option, the least expensive option of the two, which is the 350,000. Because you have to go in, you have to powder coat either inside or the outside. So you still have to do maintenance on that. And I think that was the low end of what he said when he about the 350.
That was my understanding as well.
Yeah.
But we can definitely get clarification and see if there's any kind of cheaper scenarios. If there's nothing, you know, but I'm pretty sure that was it.
Okay, I was, for some reason, I was thinking that both of the scenarios that Howie had given us was if we continued to use it as a water tower.
I believe you're right.
Areas if it's not used as a water tower.
I think the 350, Randy, was the powder coat the inside and then add a almost like a matte paint on the outside. That was the 350. The 500,000 was the powder coat both the inside, which is going to have to happen regardless, and then powder coat and paint the outside. Howie's concern was we can't leave it empty. It's top heavy. If we drain it and a wind comes through like yesterday's winds, that's going to end up on someone's house or on the church. And that's not good. Whether we tear it down or leave it up for the skyline, it's still going to require a lot of funding to get it up to standard. You know, it still needs a paint job. It still is going to need to be monitored. We don't want it to become a nuisance for local kids looking to pass some time. I think Howie had mentioned just the powder coating aspect of it, the outside would be probably close to $125,000 just to get it powder coated, to get it so where it's not rusting and chips are falling off.
Mr. Cobb.
If we leave that for skyline and the church agrees to it, we still got to raise water rates to cover the expense of reaching this tower. And to go back to our citizens and increase their water rates along with the sewer rates going up and everything else, I think you're going to get some backlash.
Why
Well,
don't we talk to them
think
beforehand?
okay, Linda, go ahead.
Why don't we talk to them before them? Put in the water newsletter thing what we've been talking about and who would like to see it preserved for. Ask the citizens instead of, assuming we know what they're going to say.
Oh, what I'm going to say when you raise my water rates that high.
Well, I think all of these items are going to be addressed when we get the information back on these studies. At that point, we're going to have a little bit more information and we can probably make a reasonable and concise feeling of which way we want to go with these things. So my feeling is let's wait until we get these studies back, then sit down at a work session, hash this thing out and go from there.
I still think we need to talk to the people.
I agree with you, Linda, and I think that that's one of the things that we can probably get done. Back to you, Mr. Bridge.
Well, thank you. So the next thing on the city manager list is a 2019 audit. Yes, that is finally done. We did have a few extensions on that, but our new finance director knocked it out of the park. So again, Colleen, thank you for getting that wrapped up. Also, thank you to Jenny Hutchinson, who lends her expertise with some bank recs and other items with that. So it is done. So every year that we have this done, council has an option to have what they call a post-audit conference. We did have one last year. We had one the year before. Basically what that is, what it's going to look like this year is a Zoom meeting. Those are not open to the public. So basically, if council wants to have one of those, I can get it set up. And then we can have the Zoom meeting with Perry and Associates. They're the one who completed the audit. We did have some findings this year that, we were not happy of it, but we have let council know throughout the year. We have the posting errors that we got that they found, and it's part of the report. But I think it'd be beneficial for council to go ahead and have that meeting. But I do need to have a few availability dates, and it does have to be between normal business hours. So is this something that council wants to do, or is this something you guys just want me to issue you the reports on your own and then have a self-reading and self-discussion type thing?
I think number one, I would prefer a Zoom meeting and sit down with them, having
Please.
attended most of the others. Anybody else?
No, I'd like to end it here.
So would I.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think Randy, you can come up with a couple, 3 available dates and we can go from there.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to set those dates right now since we're in regular session. So let me pull up my calendar. And while my calendar is up, I can't see anyone because it's over top of my screen here. Does council have any availability for the 9th or 10th during the business day? And that is Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Fine.
I can do Monday. I can't do Tuesday.
Monday would work best for me.
So I hear a Monday for everyone.
Monday
Okay.
work.
Mr. Cobb,
Yeah,
You're good Monday the 9th?
yeah.
Mr.
Okay.
Grimm,
I'm not going, I am not doing anything till the 20th.
Okay.
okay.
Can
Dan,
I suggest, go ahead, Mr. Roble. I think he's good already.
Yes, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, the 9th would be perfect.
Okay. Is it okay if we do it in the afternoon to allow some council members to not be up so early, perhaps? So if we do it maybe, I don't know.
are you pointing
11
fingers?
morning. No, not at all. I know that some, no, not at all. I'm just trying to be respectful of everyone's schedules.
What time in the afternoon?
1:12. I mean, I would do it maybe after lunch, so maybe sometime after 1:30.
1:30? Everybody will on tap for that?
That's fine.
That works for me.
Fine.
Fine. Okay, so we'll just do 11/9 at 1:30. Okay, so we're gonna have a backup date too. So let me get my calendar back up. What about the 12th? And that's a Thursday.
I'm okay.
I am too.
Same time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Bridge.
I'm not available that day.
Okay.
You're not available on the 12th, Mr. Cobb?
No, sir.
Okay, what about the 13th? Friday, the next day? Ooh,
Give
Friday
me
the
a second, run to the calendar.
Okay. And Emily, since these days don't have to be recorded nor publicized and no minutes produced, so we don't even need the clerk of council there. I think that's what you're going to ask.
What was your other date?
The 13th.
13th?
13th. Colleen, you had something?
I was not available on the 12th. I'm flying. I'll be in the
Oh,
air.
that's right. Okay, so how about we just, all right, Mr. Cobb, hopefully you didn't get too much information. How about the
Okay, fine.
10th? I know, no, is everyone, who's not available on the 10th? Mr. Roadwald,
No, I'm fine.
Miss Eggleston?
Hang on. I can't do it on the 10th.
Okay, so what about this Friday, the 6th? What is council looking like for a date on the 6th?
That's the backup date.
Well, if it's, yeah, well, I'm trying to get a few dates. If I go back to the guy who's going to be doing the Zoom meeting, he has a few options to work with.
So you're suggesting November the 6th at 1:30 instead of the 13th?
Yes, keep the 9th as a date, but what about the 6th at 1:30?
That's fine.
Randy,
Uh,
I was okay on the 13th on Friday, just not Thursday, but I believe Mr. Cobb wasn't on Thursday either.
Right.
No, I'm good for Thursday, the 13th.
Friday the
You all good for
13th.
Oh, Mrs. Harris, you are good too?
I'm good on Friday the 13th, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't want you to work while you're away. So, okay. So you're good on the 13th then?
Yes.
All right, sorry to be, all right. Does everyone have any 13th availability at 1:30?
13th's fine with me.
Check. Mr. Roadwall,
I'm fine. Yeah, I can.
check. Ms. Nowakowski,
Yes, that's fine.
Mr. Grimm.
I can't go anywhere.
Okay. All right, so we do the 9th at 1:30 or the 13th at 1:30.
All right.
And I'll present that to Perry and Associates. Awesome.
Mr. Bridge,
Yes.
do I need to do a legal ad for this?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Nope. Okay.
Nope. Nope. It's the results of the audit, so it's protected under the Ohio Revised Code. Okay. So Sunshine Law training. So I completed that on 10/23/2020. I did a remote session on that sitting in the office. So I ended up sending out the 2020 Sunshine Book to council. Hopefully you guys got that email. Skimmed through it, has a lot of valuable information in there about open meetings and then actual how we do our public records. But again, every year I do that on behalf of council, and it was completed on the 23rd of October. The next point items are our budget work session items. We kind of hit on those in the work session. So we kind of need to figure that out with how we're going to move forward when we do the CIP legislation. It looks like we got through most. Do we have any final say on the CIP savings for the fire station?
I think we set that off until next year.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So I think what's going to be the easiest to do for Emily's is go down through these things one by one and have a motion to approve to add them to the CIP. And then once we go on to the final for the actual resolution vote, whoever makes that first amendment can be like, yes, I move to approve with the amendments as we're getting ready to go through now. What's up, Mr.
I got a question, please.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Cobb.
The fire department fund, I need you to sit down and with Chief Trustee and see what they can put back when this comes up for discussion again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That way we know yay or nay.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Not a problem. So Vice Mayor, just for the ease of not confusing everyone, do you mind if I just go down the list and ask for a motion
Sure.
to approve each one? Okay. So the first one we're going to seek a motion to approve is up to 2 streetlights on reserve. Then these are the decorative streetlights to have on reserve should one get hit. And I have up to 2 because they are kind of expensive and we don't want to get having 3 or 4 on stock because they're not cheap.
Question.
So moved.
We have 2 already on order, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so basically we're talking about 2 for backup and Mrs. Eggleston has so moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Grimm? Any discussion?
I thought that had to be amended.
That is the amendment.
That's what we're doing, Mr. Cobb. We're amending the CIP.
We got to figure out what amendments you guys want before we do the final vote. Does that make sense?
And
Okay.
was it Eggleston or Nowakowski? I thought it was,
Nowakowski.
that was the first, I thought that was her voice. Okay.
Okay, I got it too.
And second was Grimm, correct?
Right.
All right, good to call the vote.
Please.
Okay. Councilman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
That's accepted 6-0.
Passes 6-0. Okay, and the next one on there, I think we just had it on, and this is the cemetery road repairs. That we're going to keep the 5,000 as is and just use any overages out of the building repair to put towards additional CIP, to put towards additional road repairs. So I don't think there's any kind of motion we need to do if we're not changing anything in the cemetery CIP.
I'm good with that.
Okay, awesome. So the next thing, bullet point that we have is here in the savings in the CIP for a new city building, whether that be new from the ground up or a renovation. And I just want to remind council, anything that we do with that will still have to go to council in form of legislation due to it being over the monetary expended for your administration to spend.
That's 25,000, right?
Right. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Grimm and Eggleston. Any discussion?
Before I vote on this, let me just make sure I'm on the same page. This is for either a new or a remodel, correct? This isn't just for strictly a new building.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
He worded it, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Good to call it.
Yes?
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
No.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
That motion's accepted 5-1.
Am I good to go, Mr. Cook?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, so we got through the ones that have direct impact on the CIP we'll be voting on tonight. We still have some 2021 appropriations we need to vote on, so Ms. Harris can proceed with finalizing our 2021 appropriations. So the first motion would be to approve or deny adding the 15,000 for the fireworks, but I think in discussion, we're going to change that to just a community event, so it doesn't have to be for fireworks if something goes on.
Do I hear a motion?
Move.
Second.
Who got the first on that?
Peggy.
Thank you.
Peggy and then Linda, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Any comments?
It is based on if there's no virus or if we
Right.
have the money.
Yeah.
Correct?
That's correct.
It's just appropriating. We don't have to spend it.
Right. Any other comments? If not, Mrs.
All right, Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yeah.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski.
Yes.
It's accepted 6-0.
Okay, so we're gonna move down to discussion points. One thing I don't think we got into much of the work session, but we have 2,000 employee appreciation line item for employee events. So we had a discussion point at one of the work session that should be removed. So we have a discussion point on that tonight, and then we'll need council motion to keep it in. And again, that was 2,000 a year to allow for employee dinners, events, stuff like that.
Mr. Cobb.
Mr. Bridge, where do you plan on holding these
Events.
events?
We don't know. I mean, past couple of years, we rented out the party room at Frickers over there in Huber Heights. So, I mean, it changes year by year.
I
As
think
it-
it needs, I
Go ahead,
think it
Mark.
needs to be in town here.
Well, I don't want council earmarking where we have our employee appreciation. I mean, I think that should be left up to your employees where they feel comfortable going.
I agree. Now, Mr. Bridge, this is mainly just for the Christmas party, is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, what we usually do is we always have a yearly Christmas party.
Yes, sir.
I think a couple years ago, we had like a hot dog grill out at the park, and that's the minimal cost. Really, it all centers around that holiday
Yeah.
party.
Okay. Yeah, I'm total in favor of this. I mean, in this time right now, you need to reward the employees for the hard work and dedication they're doing, especially in this time of uncertainty.
Mhm.
Anyone else? If not, Mrs. Berger.
I totally missed the first and second on that one.
No, I don't. They haven't got one yet.
Wasn't one.
First, move.
Second.
Okay.
This is to keep it in or remove it.
Keep it in.
Keep it in.
So Linda was my first and Peggy's my second.
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Rodwell,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
No,
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
That's accepted 5-1.
All right, thank you. And moving on with the bullet point list, we have the remove $40,000 from the planning department's community development budget and transfer to the swimming pool for a 2021 pool liner purchase.
make a
So-
motion.
Any discussion?
Is that a
Is
motion?
there, can we amend that to where the money's coming from?
I don't think the money needs to come from anywhere. I think if it's, I mean, if it was already on the books for the 2022 season, I think we just leave it in the 2022 season, ride with what we have. I mean, I just don't see one more year being that devastating to where it justifies taking $40,000 out of anywhere. Not right now. I just don't. Like Mr. Bridge said earlier, it's supposed to be a self-sufficient program, and right now, unfortunately, it's not self-sufficient. Now, that's not duly to their part. The pool was neglected for many, many years and has taken a lot of money to get it up to standards. But I'm not willing to sacrifice some of the things that we have earmarked in the community development fund for a swimming pool. As much as I love it, that 20% at best, probably 15% of the community uses.
As Mr. Bridge said, does council feel that a feasibility study to be brought forth at a later date in regards to this would be beneficial?
Are you talking about what we discussed earlier about a complete tear down and
Yeah.
rebuild?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it never hurts to look at the numbers, obviously. I have no problem with that at all.
Anyone else?
I agree with Ms. Rodwell.
Okay. I
Did
guess
council
we
make
need
a
a,
motion?
we need a motion to leave this as is or to change it.
I was going to recommend if council don't want to change anything, then make the motion just to keep that as it is. And then if you guys want to do a motion after that to direct us to do the feasibility study, and it will be all encompassing, Mr. Rodwell. We're pretty thorough. So we'll look at, your options to completely renovate what you have now versus a splash pad versus finding a new location and building from the ground up. But we need that directive from council.
Yeah, but I can't see leaving that in there to take the 40,000 out of the planning director's funds to fix the problem in the pool right now.
Do I hear a motion to leave as is?
So moved.
Peggy, do I need a second?
Now this
Second.
is to not
I'm sorry.
remove 40,000 from planning.
No,
Correct.
we're leaving the motion, we're leaving the appropriations as they are. We are not taking any money out of the planning department.
Okay.
We are leaving the pool liner go till 2022.
Second,
So I got a motion and a second. Is there any other comment? If not, Mrs. Berger.
Okay. Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
That's accepted 6-0.
Now, do I hear a motion to instruct the city manager to get
Mr.
with
Vice Mayor,
people and put forth a feasibility study to
So
be brought
moved.
forth at a later date?
So moved.
I think Mr. Grimm has a question.
Go ahead.
no, I was just going to make a motion to direct the city to conduct a feasibility study as to repairing the current pool or building a new one.
I think both of these could probably be carried under the same motion to,
Yeah.
check the feasibility of repair and or new, or fill it in.
Second.
I got the first, I'm sorry.
Peggy.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Was the
If
second
not-
from Linda?
Yes.
And I believe Peggy was second.
Peggy was first.
Oh,
All right. Vice Mayor Cook,
yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
Yeah.
Councilman Eggleston.
Yes.
That motion's accepted 6-0.
Back to you, Mr. Graham, or Mr. Bridge.
Well, thank you. So we got two more discussion, they're general topics. One is the increased non-residential pool fees. I don't know if you guys want to get into that now. Maybe we can do it at the next meeting for the sake of time. So if that's okay, I'll just skim past that.
What are the fees now?
I need to get with April and get her opinion on that. And
Just
then,
say, would it be nice to have her here when we have that discussion?
well, right now, she's not an employee of the city. I can see if she has availability. But if she doesn't,
Okay.
that's something we can do.
The out
Okay.
of towners pay the same fee as the people that live in town.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, she has availability and she's willing, absolutely. But if not, we can get some information and get it out to council for your recommendations. So the next thing is 101 South Main Street uses. We have been working very hard these past couple weeks, me, Colleen, and Derek and Howie, to kind of reuse that place, the 101 South Main Street. Right now, we're pretty locked in being half of it the substation, but I wanted to just have that discussion tonight. Because if the magistrate and the mayor's court comes into play, council going to decide where it's going to have to go. I do like I talked to Mr. Cook a little bit about this today. I like the idea of having that out to shelter house, just due to the open area of it. So one big space, we can put some curtains behind it to make it a little bit more professional. But I'm not sure if I want it downtown at the 101 South Main Street, just because of the nature of the building itself. They're small rooms, and it's not going to give us that nice wow conference room that we need when we bring auditors in or we bring developers in. And I like the fact that if we bring a developer in, they're going to come in our downtown, we can take them over to Penny Lane and get some coffee. So I don't know what that opinion is from the law director is going to be. So I still would like to move forward with allocating the money this year to move the substation down, and then also the conference room for the city. We also have that, to be very transparent, we also have that in the 2021 CIP you guys will be voting on tonight. Should anything, and I wanted it, and I want some approval from council for this funding year and also for 2021, just in case something happens with COVID and it takes some time to get things done. So right now, I will ask for a motion to approve that the city move forward with allocating 101 South Main Street as half of the substation, and then the other half for city conference rooms and city record storage for a cost of not exceeding $15,000 out of the police fund and $15,000 out of the general fund. I think Mr. Cobb has a question.
Yes, Mr. Cobb.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bridge. Wouldn't it be feasible to, I know you got to put 2 restrooms in there, but all
We don't have
the,
to put restrooms in there. The restroom's already there.
you're going to have a male, female restroom. I mean, the drawings that were sent out.
Oh, the restrooms are already there. What I sent out today was just a sketch of the walls. There's already 2 restrooms back there. We don't have to put restrooms in.
Okay, wouldn't it be feasible for the rest of it if you block that off for, you have 1 room for the sergeant? I take it the sergeant will be out there. Correct?
I mean, yeah, but he's not out here all the time.
Okay,
So
no more than our deputies, and it wouldn't be cheaper to go with the, oh God, I'm losing it.
Cubicles.
Cubicles.
You know, here's in order to save costs, those individual rooms are actually big. So when you're walking down and you see all those separated on the right-hand side, we can fit easily 3 desks in one of those rooms. So that's why we had a little conference room up then for front. So if they have a meeting, they can go sit out there and all talk. And they have 2 more additional rooms that they could use. So how it's set up now is basically they just got the 2 big rooms in the substation, and they all just kind of have their desks allocated there. We had went down last week or the week before, and we looked at the condition of some of those desks, and some of them are bad, but we can actually salvage about 2 of those.
No,
So
I'm not talking about the equipment coming out of the old building. I'm talking
Okay.
about cubicles down there in the new substation downtown there at 101.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is we don't need the cubicles. We can just reuse what they have, some of them. We're
There
going to
are,
have to buy a desk on some.
there are already offices there.
Yeah, we're not adding any walls. We're just assigning space.
Oh, so yeah, Mr. Cobb. Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. There's
The
already.
drawings that were sent out today shows that it's going to be an all wood frame. You're going to
That-
have a hallway, office over here, which we did not have.
That
when I
is,
looked at it.
Mr. Cobb, that is the existing setup of the building. The sketch we set out today is currently how the building is set up down there. That's what that
No.
sketch had nothing to do with adding walls or taking down. That is what it currently looks like right now.
When we went down and looked at it, the rooms were over on the north side of the building. Everything else was open down to there. There was no walls whatsoever in that open space there.
Yeah, well, yeah, the sketch is how it's laid out currently. So we're not adding walls, we're not tearing down walls, we're not doing kind of any of that. We may enclose some space with just like a fake wall, but yeah, it's
So
that's currently sketched. So we're literally just going to be moving desks from the substation down to the 101 South Main Street.
So the 30,000, Randy, is for, obviously, you guys said there was some new carpet that needed to be
Yes,
done.
sir.
Probably some new furniture for the conference rooms, new furniture for some of the deputies. So basically, it's just the 30,000, just put some lipstick on it. Get it
it's
up to
all
standard.
It is all cosmetics. So we opted to go for a hardwood floor
Okay.
that is waterproof because we can
Okay.
assume that we're going to be walking in with wet feet, especially with police in the wintertime. And then we have to get an electrician in to do some minor things to get it up to code. We have the county walk through for us. So we have to do that, and painting. So a lot of it is cosmetic with the exception of having to get a conference room table. You know, we can do that for a very budgeted price and a flat screen TV for a smart board. So yeah, literally it is mostly cosmetic.
So we're not moving walls. We're not, none
of that.
The most
This
construction wise, what we do is probably
second
some
floor was all
electrical.
open.
Yeah. Well, I'm
What
sorry. What
about
did you say
the-
that last part, Mr. Radwald? All what?
The most construction we'll be doing is just electrical.
Yes, yeah, to bring it up to code. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you look at that sketch I sent you out, when you walk
Yes, sir.
in, you kind of go into that lobby area.
Yes, sir.
It goes directly into an open room and another in the back room. So them back 2 rooms, we are going to put like a fake wall.
A divider.
And that's where the smart board's going to be.
Yep.
And behind that's going to be the record storage.
Yes, sir. Yep.
But it's going to be temporary. So if we ever resell it, we can just take that down and it's not going to impact the wood trim around it.
Yep.
What
Looks
about
like it.
security and closed circuit TV?
We can get those for very minimal cost.
Okay.
Security systems. Yep. And we'll, at that point in time, we'll just want to cover the entrances, the back entrance, the front entrance, and maybe that conference room. We're not going to want any kind of security systems in our police offices and stuff like that. They're going to want to talk
No,
about sensitive data. Yeah.
This would be for the entrance and doors, those
Yeah.
kind of things, so that if the officers were in there, they could see who was at the door ringing an entrance bell to get in. Okay. Do I
And
hear a
then those
motion?
kits are very affordable nowadays.
And Randy, I'd also like maybe to eventually look at replacing that glass with shatterproof. I mean, if we're going to have officers in there, especially given the environment that we're in right now.
Yeah, so that's a very good segue, Mr. Rodwald, because one of the things I'm looking at, we do a lot of business with Clark County Glass, and they do fantastic work. We had them come in and beef up Angela's window. We had them come in and do that, a closure to further protect Colleen and Angela.
Yep.
And they do make materials like a film we can get put back behind there. That
Okay.
if someone were to like hit it, it's not going to break in pieces. It's more, it turns it into a safety glass type thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sure.
Any further discussion?
You plan on leaving the metal doors in the back?
Yes. Yeah, we gotta have some kind of blockage from there. What we have to do is we have to put a thing up top to make it sure it closes itself. But other than that, the door itself, it's already rated for fire safety, the whole 9 yards.
What about the fire escape up there upstairs? You're going
The
to
county, no,
you have
it's
to
all
revamp
good.
that door, won't you?
No, we had the county walk through with us last week, the week before, just to kind of give us a head up of the things that he's going to want to see fixed. That door did not come up, so it's all fire rated and good to go.
Well, what I was saying, keep from by walking up the fire escape, breaking in the door up there. That was just a cheap
No,
door.
we can't block fire escape.
No, that
Yeah,
door
I
up
don't
the
know.
top.
Yeah, we'll look at the options. If it needs to be replaced, we'll definitely get that taken care of. But it hasn't presented any issues to date.
Any further? If not, I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Peg, you were first. Who was second?
Linda.
Linda. All right. Anything further? If not, Mrs. Berner.
Okay, Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
I'm thinking.
Take your time, sir.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
That motion's accepted 6-0.
Mr. Bridge.
I swear I am almost done with my report. I promise. So other upcoming, we have health insurance renewal. I think I mentioned at the last meeting, we did lock in at 6.9% increase. Tomorrow morning, Ms. Harris and I have a Zoom meeting with McGowan Broadbender, who is our broker. We're going to go through some options. Once we have those options, we have to go back to our city staff and get their opinion and let them vote on what package they want. And then we go back to council for approval. So every year when we do this, it always comes down to the wire, and we don't like that, but that's just the nature of the beast. So that very well may be an emergency ordinance back to council, depending on the timing of when we can get it back from the actual health insurance broker. So again, 2020 to 24 CIP, the final amend, that will be before the year's end. And then we also have our 2021 temporary appropriations that will be introduced at our next meeting. And what the temporary appropriation does is it gives us some spending power after the first of the year until our regular appropriation ordinance is in effect. So we'll do that, introduce it on 11/16 and vote at it at the first meeting in December. And here it is, my last bullet point. Mayor's Court, Law Director currently researching. We'll have more information to come. And I think we briefly touched on that during the work session as well. That's all I have for the city manager report. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Bridge?
No.
If not, I guess we can move on to the resolution section.
We skipped the comments.
Yep, we've got comments from
Oh.
members of the public.
Sorry about that. I did. Do you have anything else, Mr. Bridge, on that?
Let me see. Yeah, we got a comment from Brandy Mullet of 522 Hamilton Avenue. So I was just going to read that for the record. And it says, I'd like to remind council there is a Parks and Recreation Board. even though council didn't afford us any opportunity to continue meeting during the pandemic. I was told all parks meetings were canceled until the restrictions were lifted, and we were not offered the option to conduct meetings via Zoom. I cannot speak for the other board members, and I am not the board chairperson, but for me personally, it seems as though the board shouldn't even exist if council is going to continue making decisions without any input or consultation with the board. Perhaps there should be some discussion about whether or not the Parks Board is going to continue to exist and how that will work. And if not, the Park Board needs to be officially eliminated. So I will take the first of that, but we didn't get them any iPads because there's not in the budget for it, but we didn't want to expend the money because they couldn't do any programs to begin with.
In regards to that situation, I'm going to have a comment. Did the candy get to the fire department that we were holding from Easter? Okay, so we're basically out of the candy business.
Any other comments from council regarding the?
I mean, I do agree a little bit with I'm sorry, I forgot her name, Randy.
Brandon.
I think the Park and Recs needs to get involved, especially with the planning of the fireworks or community celebration. I think that would help Mr. Cobb and Mr. Cook if they're again going to be spearheading this. Take a little bit off their plates. That way, get this timetable turned a little quicker to be able to see where we're actually at instead of relying on just two gentlemen to go out and get all this together.
Just to interrupt you there,
Yes, sir.
you don't want the Park and Recs involved in that. They fought the whole time that Mr. Cook and I and Mr. Grimm sat there, and they want complete charge of it. They don't want Mr. Cook or myself involved in it. They want to be in charge of it.
Well, I mean, I think we can at least involve them, at least having a communication and kind of figure out where the differences are and where we need to go from here. But I think it is important to have citizens involved, especially with our local parks. And if we're going to make this a community celebration event, I just think the more help we have, the better off it is for everybody. The more input we have, and Mr. Cobb, I'm trying to help. I think taking some of this off your guys' plate a little bit, giving you some assistance. I'm not saying give them control. By no means do I want that. I mean, you and Mr. Cook and Mr. Grimm have done an excellent job bringing this back to the community. But if we're going to involve the baseball park, which is a city park now, I can speak firsthand since I do sit on that board as well. That will help in any and all facets. But if it's going to be something in the community, and we don't even know if it's going to be fireworks, if it's going to be something where the city parks are going to have to get involved, whether it's something we held down at Smith Park. I just think, shutting them out is just, I'd like to at least get their ideals.
Well, if you let the Parks and Rec in it, I will not have nothing to do with it. I've sit and listened to them fight. Everybody wants to be in control down there in that Parks and Rec, and that's how it'll stand with me. They get involved, and I'm not messing with it.
All right, sir.
Let's, I think we can entertain the situation here along about April, see what the coronavirus is doing and what we can do at that point. And then I'm sure that Parks and Rec will be advised, and we'll kind of take that one step at a time.
That's all.
And when the pandemic did start, they can still meet in person amongst themselves, but it has to be open to the public, so they can have to limit how many people. Remember when we had our first meeting, we had to socially distance, so they can go on with their meetings at the shelter house. But unfortunately, they just couldn't do any events because of the quarantine. So at that point in time, I can't justify spending $4,000, $5,000 on iPads for a committee that wouldn't be able to do any kind of event. So we actually end up buying the planning board and the board of zoning appeals their iPads, where we can get those set up so they can meet remotely for the, the appeals and the planning, and then in the, the site plan develops and all that. So the Parks and Rec board, again, they can meet in person, but it was just curious about how they're going to actually pull off events for the year. And, Brandy Mullet's a fantastic person. I think their heart's in the right spot. She did respond back, so I do have to read that for the record. And it says, Mr. Cobb, I don't disagree with what you've said because we've had issues when the board first became active with new members. However, you are completely wrong about assuming we wanted full control of the fireworks. I was told by Mr. Cook and yourself that you wanted us to work with you on the fireworks and then eventually take it over fully.
Mr. Grimm.
Most everybody has cameras for their computer. And if they don't, they're not
Or
that
a
expensive.
phone. I mean, I've got a camera on my phone that I can zoom from.
Right, but you're also assuming that they'll be willing to use their own devices. And let's say if they use their own devices and someone public records requests something and it's on their personal device, now their personal device subject to the public recs request laws. So if they want to use their own devices, that's fine. They don't have to meet remotely. They can still meet in person. They just have to go through the rules as the state of Ohio prescribes. And that is they have to keep 6 foot distance. The meetings still have to be open to the public, so they have to let the public come in. But then you're going to have limitations on how many people can come in due to the size of the shelter house. And every time they leave, we're going to have to go and pay and get it sanitized, which will be fine because we're ordering those backpacks. So I think it was just put on hold because of COVID. And I think maybe this is a good segue to start when they're getting back into the swing of things, because of the point of having that board is to advise council with how the Parks and Rec move forward. But that's just my 2 cents. And you
And
guys.
I don't think the shelter house is going to prove a hindrance for a meeting of Parks and Recreation. It's not like 50 people are going to come to the Parks and Recreation board meeting.
Mm-hmm. So they wanted to get the meetings back on. They could as a board, and they just let us know and we can get them accommodated. I would just hopefully wait till after we get the backpack sanitizers in, so we don't have to pay a company to come in and fog it.
I agree.
I have one other comment. Mr. Bridge, you sent out a note that basically 12/21, the legislation on the meetings will expire. I have made a note to Kyle Kohler to ask him if and when anything is going to be done as far as the legislature as to either extending or letting that legislation expire, but I've not heard back from him.
Okay.
Other
Yeah,
than that,
as
is
soon as we hear
anybody,
anything-
I'm sorry.
As soon as we hear anything, we'll definitely pass it along.
Yeah, anybody have anything else before we go to the resolution section?
We have another comment from the member of public. You want me to read it for the record or wait
Yes,
till the
go
last?
ahead.
Okay. It says it's from Miss Mullet again. And she goes, herein lies the problem. As Mr. Roldrod said so perfectly, we've been shut out completely. I am sitting at home watching the meeting and have to have rapid fire emails out and try to get my 2 cents in edgewise. Mr. Cobb's statements are incredibly insulting and not conducive to fostering community and trying to come together to do good. Mr. Bridge, I understand completely that purchasing iPads for us is not at all feasible, and I would not expect that at all. But being required to have all meetings available to the public has completely restricted our ability to be active within the city. Mr. Bridge, please outreach me at your convenience to discuss this so we can further try to find an acceptable solution. Absolutely, Ms. Mullet. I would love to reach out. So
Moving
council,
right
okay,
along.
I can get that going on and I can report back to council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Yep.
Mrs. Berner, if you will, let's start with the resolutions for this night, evening gets over with.
Okay, we have resolution 2020-21R, public hearing and action tonight. This was introduced on 10/19/20. A resolution adopting a capital improvement program for the city of New Carlisle, Ohio.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Peggy, and Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Mr. Grimm. And an explanation of this one. Okay, so the amendments, we're gonna have to we have the amendments we done. So this motion to approve will be to have up to 2 decorative street lighting on reserve. Savings in the CIP for the new city building. And I do believe that's the only 2 we voted in. Yes.
Any discussion? Go ahead, Colleen.
The 15,000 fireworks was not in the appropriations. You added that tonight?
Yeah, we added the
Yes.
fire
Yeah, that's just for appropriation. Yep. It's not
and
for-
the employee appreciation.
Okay, those,
That was in the appropriations, not in the
Okay.
CIP.
Sorry, yeah.
So does the motion need to be amended before it's passed?
We approved the amendments.
you approved
As amended,
as
does it-
amended, but you have to say something about the amendments in the
as
motion.
amended.
Thank you.
So moved with the amendments.
Okay.
Is there a second, Tim?
Second.
Go ahead, Mr. Graham. All right. Any
Ready?
further?
So 2.
Go ahead, Ms. Burner.
Councilman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
No.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
That motion's accepted 5-1. We have resolution 2020-22, introduction, public hearing and action tonight. A resolution providing for the permanent transfer of funds from the city ambulance capital and ambulance operating funds into the fire operating funds of the city of New Carlisle.
So moved.
That gets going too fast.
That was Peggy, and who was the second?
Second.
Linda.
Linda.
Okay. So a explanation of this, this is a resolution to clean up some missed postings that a former finance director had put into our systems. This was discovered as a result of our audits.
Any further discussion? If not, Mrs. Burner.
Councilman Roadwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski.
Yes.
That's accepted 6-0. Moving on to our ordinances, we have ordinance 2020-39, public hearing and action tonight. This was introduced on 10/19/20. An ordinance amending ordinance 2020-35 for the purpose of correcting a scrivener's error.
Moved, so moved.
Second.
Okay, an explanation of this ordinance. Ordinance 2020-35 had a typo in it. And that was under section 2, where it was written out in 2 different monetary amounts, 50,000 and 150,000. It was supposed to be 50,000. So we are doing a scrivener's error to correct that typo.
Any further discussion? If not, Mrs. Burner.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston.
Yes.
That motion accepted 6-0. Moving on to ordinance 2020-40, public hearing and action tonight. This was introduced on 10/19/20. And ordinance amending chapter 1066 of the codified ordinances of the city of New Carlisle, Ohio regarding cemeteries in general.
So moved.
Second.
And explanation of this ordinance, this is to increase the cemetery rates. Anytime that we have a rate increase for certain items, we have to bring that to council for approval. And since this one is actually dictated in our codes, we have to have approval on council on that to change. The average increase is around $50 for grades only.
Any further discussion? If not, Mrs. Burner.
Okay, we got that one done.
Vice Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Oh, wait, I called it out of order. Sorry.
That's all right.
I should have started with Councilman Rodwald.
That's all right.
Yes.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Councilman Grimm?
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski?
Yes.
That's accepted 6-0. And our last one, we have ordinance 2020-41E, introduction, public hearing, and action tonight. An ordinance supplementing certain appropriations contained in New Carlisle City Ordinance 2020-12 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
With the changes that we made, with the additions.
Yeah, I think Peggy say that. You have to say,
No, this has nothing. No, this is just to increase the appropriations for our current budget for the CARES Act funds to spend those to 200,000.
oh, okay.
Lots of budgets we're amending today. So sorry for the confusion.
This is the, Randy, this is the 200,647.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Peg was the first. Who was the second one? Linda?
Yes.
Mhm. All right. Any further?
Yep. Would you like me to give the explanation again, or we're good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So since this was distributed to the city about a week ago, it was not accounted for in our current appropriations. So because of that, we have to amend our appropriations in order to spend that. So this is part of the coronavirus relief efforts. And basically, if we don't use it, we have to send it back. So we want to try to use every penny of it.
Any further discussion? Mr.
Yes.
Cobb?
What all can that be spent on?
It has to be one, not accounted for this year's appropriations. We could not budgeted for it, but it also has to be used to prevent the spread of the coronavirus.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Mr. Bridge, would that also include if the funds prohibit or are allowed mask giveaway inside the city?
Yeah. So some of the things we were looking about getting, as sanitation stuff, personal protective equipment.
Mhm.
We have a lot of masks on stock already that we've got from various departments in the county.
Okay.
Fire chief has got a few. We got some, but it's basically used for stuff like that. Yes.
All right.
Anything further? If not, Mrs. Burner?
Okay. Councilman Rodwald?
Yes.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Councilman Grimm?
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski?
Yes.
That's accepted 6-0. Would you like me to read other business, please?
Before you get to that, I need
Okay.
a motion to excuse Mayor Lowry from,
Yeah.
I would assume, both the work session and the regular session.
Okay.
Motion to excuse Mr. Mayor from the work session and the regular meeting.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Cobb and Mr. Grimm.
Okay.
All right.
Councilman Nowakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald?
Yes.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Councilman Grimm?
Yes.
That motion's accepted 6-0.
And you may go ahead on other business.
All right, other business. The city offices will be closed on Wednesday, November 11th, 2020 to observe Veterans Day. And any additional city business, it's open discussion for city-related matters.
Mr. Bridge.
This is another good meeting that we had. I just want to thank council for the open and honest discussion we had with some of the things we wanted amended in the CIP. But this is exactly how these meetings are supposed to go. We give you guys information, you guys bounce it forth, and you tell us what to do. So we've had quite a few of these meetings this year, and for us on the administrative side, it makes our job a lot easier when we're all on the same page and we have directive from council. So from your administrators to you, thank you so much for having a good meeting tonight. We appreciate it.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Remember we discussed about the ethics commission on the previous finance director? You was going to send a letter to let them see what they were going to do?
Yeah, since the audit just finalized, it's something I have not done yet, but I am going to be doing that here shortly.
All right. I just wanted to ask.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have anything? If not, I understand the next work session for the council will be held on Monday, the 16th at 6 p.m. Regular meeting Monday, the 16th at 7 p.m. And I would like to thank most everybody for helping tonight. By virtue of having a little bit of a hearing problem, and it's not the best in the West for this iPad, I would like to extend my thanks for all of you helping me. Anybody have anything else?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Job. And who was the second?
Linda,
Me, Linda, whoever.
Peggy.
Linda?
Flip a
Or-
coin.
Linda? Okay. If you will, Mrs. Berner, call the
All
roll.
right, Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn accepted 6-0.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night. I'm going to sleep with my dogs.
I bet.
If they
Everyone,
don't
watch
get
it
out of
next
the
week.
house.
I'm not touching that line.
They aren't allowed out tonight.
Hold it, go to the bathroom in the corner. We're not even entertaining it.
I'll clean it up.
Absolutely. All right.
All in
everyone,
all, thank you, folks.
you everyone have a
See ya.
good night. Call me if you
Night.
need